Hello friends and welcome to another class for Standard 8, and we have already completed the first two activities of the lesson A Shipwrecked Sailor, and in today's class we are going to deal with the third activity of that lesson. And the third activity, which event in the story do you think is the most tragic? So read the question carefully. Which is the most tragic event of the story A Shipwrecked Sailor? And we know that the most tragic event is the death of his friends. And in that, even more tragic is the death of Carabello and Castillo, because Velasco was trying to help all his friends and he could not save any of his friends, but he lost Carabello and Castillo very close to him. He could have at least saved the life of Carabello and Castillo because his raft was very close to Carabello and Castillo. Castillo was hanging to the neck of Carabello and they were just 3 meters away from Velasco's raft. He could have saved them and he could have given the oar for them to hold, but very unfortunate for Carabello and Castillo, a gigantic wave has lifted the raft. So, the most tragic event in the story is the death of Carabello and Castillo. Okay, now we can go to the vocabulary activities in your textbook. Now, vocabulary activities help you to get good vocabulary, the power of words. And let us read the activity. Look at the opening sentence of the story. My first impression was that I was utterly alone in the middle of the ocean. Here, the narrator describes his experience of a shipwreck in first person. How would the sentence change if we expressed the same in third person? So, we can understand when we read the story, The Shipwrecked Sailor, that the story is told by Velasco and the narration is in first person. Now, what do we mean by first person? That means that person is telling the story from his point of view. So, he says that my first impression was that I was utterly alone in the middle of the ocean. This is how the story begins. So who is I here? We know that it's Velasco. And me stands for also Velasco. So Velasco is telling the story and it is from his point of view. He used the words like I, me, my, etc. This is first person narrative. So, if the story goes like this: I and my friends were traveling from Mobile to Colombia. Then my ship was wrecked and we were thrown into the ocean. I tried to help my friends, but I could not help any of my friends. This is how a first person story goes. Whereas the same story can be told from a third person point of view. A third person point of view means some other person is telling the story. He is watching these things and is narrating it. Then it becomes a third person narrative. For example, I can tell you the same story in a third person narrative like this. Velasco and his friends were traveling from Mobile to Colombia, and on the way his ship wrecked and his shipmates were thrown into the ocean. And Velasco tried to help his friends, but he could not help any of his friends. This is a third person narrative. Now you might have observed the difference. In the first one, I was going from Mobile to Colombia. That's first person. Now in the second one, Velasco and his friends were going to Colombia from Mobile. That's a third person narrative, and I think now you understood the difference between a first person narrative and a third person narrative. And in this activity you are asked to change this sentence. Which sentence? My first impression was that I was utterly alone in the middle of the ocean. This is a first person narrative. And you have to change this into a third person narrative. How will you change that? Very simple. Velasco, so instead of saying my, that's first person, we change that to third person. Velasco's first impression was that he, instead of I, we use he. He was utterly alone in the middle of the ocean. While this activity is not over, we have some more works to do in this activity. And here, how do we make the possessive forms of nouns? That is the question. This is my book. Usually, when you want to say something is somebody's possession, the best way or the easiest way is to add an apostrophe and s. For example, this is Raju's book, means this book belongs to Raju. This is his possession. It's very easy, isn't it? Just add an apostrophe and s. This is Velasco's ship. This is Carabello's ship. This is Rahul's bat. This is Thomas' pen. This is Anoop's shaving set. This is my son Sebastian. Show me your water bottle. This is Sebastian's water bottle. So friends, we use apostrophe s to show the possession of a person. Sajina's book, Rahul's bat, Sebastian's water bottle, etc. But when we want to say the possessive forms of pronouns, we have different words. Now, what are pronouns? Pronouns are the words that we use in the place of nouns. For example, I'm going to give you a profile of Rabindranath Tagore. So I started like Rabindranath Tagore is a very famous Indian writer. Rabindranath Tagore has won Nobel Prize for Literature. Rabindranath Tagore is the first Indian to receive a Nobel Prize. Rabindranath Tagore is famous for his work Gitanjali. Rabindranath Tagore is a famous Bengali writer. So in all the sentences I use the word Rabindranath Tagore. You know, it's such a long name, and also it sounds crazy when I use the word, I repeat the same word again and again. So instead of using a name again and again, we can replace that word with what is called pronoun. So we can use the pronoun he for Rabindranath Tagore, and for Anida Desai we can use she, and for some other things we can use the pronoun it. So pronouns are very useful because we can use the pronouns in place of names. But how do we make the possessive forms of pronouns he? Can we say his? No. For she, can we say she's? No, that's wrong. So we have different words for the pronoun, for the possessive forms of pronouns. So we can use his. The possessive form of he is not his, it's his. It's another word. And the possessive form of she is her, H-E-R. So let us read the possessive forms of these pronouns. I. Do we use ice? Yes, we like to eat ice cream, of course. But the word to show the possession, the possessive form of I is my. And we, the possessive form is our. And you, the possessive form is your. He, we have already discussed. It's his. She, her. They, their. It, its. So you have to learn the possessive forms of these pronouns and use it correctly when you are writing it. So you can make one sentence each using these possessive forms of pronouns. Oh, here we go. The possessive form of I is my. Can you make a sentence using this word my? Easy. I love my watch. I love my watch. Possessive form of we is our. Can you say an example? We love our nation. Possessive form of you is your. You love your parents. The possessive form of he is his. He likes doing his homework in his book. Now she likes watering the plants in her garden. Its possessive form is its. It likes to play with its tail. See how I used different sentences? Okay friends, so you can write different examples using the possessive forms of pronouns in your textbook. Now let's move on to the next activity, which is very important. It is about affixes. Now, what are affixes? We know that in English we make new words by adding something to the root word. A root word is a main word, and we can add some letters before the root word and after the root word. And sometimes we make new words by adding some letters or words at the end of the main word. They are called suffixes. The words or letters that comes after the main word are called suffixes, and the words that comes before the main word or root word are called prefixes. Pre means before. And together, the prefixes and suffixes, together they are called affixes. So, to give you an example, Let's take the word unexpectedly. In this word, you can cut the word unexpectedly into different sections. Un, first part, expect, second part, ed, third part, ly, fourth part. So you can cut this word into 4 parts. The first one is un, that is called a prefix, and the next word is expect. Expect is the actual word, the bare word or the root word or the main word of that word. So un plus expect plus ed plus ly makes the word unexpectedly. So we can say un is prefix, expect is the root word, ed is a suffix, ly again is a suffix. So here we have the words like disappeared, dis plus appear plus ed. So appear is the root word, dis is the prefix, ed is the suffix. Then indefinitely, in is a prefix, definite is the root word, ly is the suffix. Reassuring, re is a common prefix in English, re, and each of this prefix they have a meaning. For example, re means again, retake, that means taking again. So the prefix re stands for doing something again. So reassuring, assuring again. Assure is the main word or the root word, re is the prefix, and ing is the suffix. I think now you got the idea. So here you are asked to make a list of such words used in the story. You are asked to write a list of words using the prefix un in the first column, dis in the second column, in the third column, and re in the fourth and last column. So you can find lots and lots of words with these prefixes. How do you find it? Well, you can check a dictionary and check for these words un, starting with un, then you can find that there is actually a root word, a base word, and un is a prefix. I can give you a list of some words starting with the prefix un. Unload, unrecognize, unhappy, undress, uncountable. So the prefix un means opposite of that un. Then dis, again this prefix also means the opposite of something. Appear and disappear. Dishonest, a person who is not honest. Dishonest. Disgrace, distaste, dislocated, disagree, and in. Again, this prefix also means the opposite of that. For example, indefinite, injustice, invisible, inactive, inappropriate, insufficient. You can get more words. And let's write some words with the prefix re. I told you re means, the prefix means again. Reappear means appear again. Reappear, reassuring, relearn, that means learning again. Relearn, revalue, reconsider, rewind, etc. So like this you can find lots of words and study these words. So if you know the meaning of that prefix, you can guess the meaning of that word. So this is the adding prefixes and suffixes is one of the most common ways of forming new words in English language, and this will help you to learn more and more words and to have a good vocabulary. So thank you very much for watching this video. If this video was helpful to you, you can subscribe to our channel and watch our classes daily, and we are trying to help you. So thanks for watching. Have a nice day.